Hello, everybody. We're going to give you just a second to come in from the waiting room, and then we'll get going in just one moment. Thanks for joining us today. Good to see so many familiar names. Great to have you joining us. We're going to get going in just 1 minute. It takes a second for everyone to come in from the waiting room, and then we'll get going. All right, wonderful. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar, Delivering Innovation, The Road to LTI 1.3. Just a few bits of housekeeping before we get started. I just wanted to let you know, if you didn't know already, all of our participants are muted so we can have a nice clean recording. But please, we want this to be as interactive a session as possible. So please use the webinar Q&A in order to ask us any questions that you would like us to address at the end. We will have time for Q&A, so don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. And we'd also love to hear from you in the chat. Introduce yourselves, let us know where you're coming in from today. Any specific, things that are capturing your interest. We'd love to hear your feedback about that, so we can have this be very interactive. As I mentioned, we are recording this webinar. We will be emailing it in the next day or two, along with some helpful resources that we'll be referencing throughout the webinar. So keep an eye on that on your email to receive that, and feel free to forward it to any friends or colleagues who might not be able to join us live today. I'd like to take a minute to introduce myself and my co-presenter. My name is Gretchen Hansen. I am the Director of Product Marketing for Classroom Assessments here at Turnitin, and I'm joined today by Tracy DeLillo. She is our Senior Technical Implementation Consultant, and is one of the experts that will be helping us with all of the complexities of our LMS setups and with LTI 1.3. So I'm very pleased to be joined by Tracy. Today, Tracy and I are going to be walking you through a pretty exciting agenda. I'm really thrilled to be chatting with you about all this today. I'm going to spend some time walking you through Turnitin's roadmap. LTI 1.3 is opening a lot of doors for us to bring some great features and functionality to you, so we want to make sure we can show you those things. And then Tracy is going to talk a little bit more about the hidden advantages of LTI 1.3 and what that can bring to your institution. And then I will close us out by talking about some resources that we have that will make bringing LTI 1.3 into your institution easy and making that change easy for your LMS administrators as well as for your instructors and students. And then, of course, we will be wrapping up today's session with some Q&A. So if you do have questions, please feel free to put them into that Q&A box in the Zoom webinar toolbar. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. So I've been in education for 25 years, and I think, like many of you who have been in education for a long time, it's been change is constant. We are constantly dealing with changes in our environment, in software, in technology, but I don't think we've ever really seen anything quite like the technology changes of the past few years. Whether it was from going completely online during the pandemic to the recent upset with the introduction of generative AI, we really have a lot of things that are causing us to rethink the way we provide education and the way we are assessing our students and the things that they're learning. And I think the important part about this is that as all this change is happening and as we're evaluating the environment and the landscape, and the challenges that are ahead of us, our educators are really sitting at the center of this. They are the ones that are addressing the challenge, and they are by and large very optimistic about that. They're optimistic about the opportunity that all of these technology changes can bring to students in helping them to further their career and to further their education and their learning. But we need to be able to help educators in order to keep up with all of these changes, keep up with this technology, and be able to assess their students in the way that their pedagogical and subject matter expertise guides them and informs how they should deliver this learning to their students and help them to be successful. So as we go out and we talk to educators, one thing that is clear with every institution we talk to, it's that every educator's approach to their classroom, approach to their assessment, and their approach to how they manage integrity within their assessments is deeply personal. And you're not going to find the same solution, the same approach, the same set of tools in any one classroom across your institution. So there's really no one size fits all solution that fits for every instructor, every institution, every class, every discipline. And so having something that's highly modular, able to work together, able to allow you to be flexible and assess the way you want is really, really important for educators today and will be more important going forward as we continue to deal with changes and complications and differences that enter our educational landscape. So Turnitin, we've been in the space for a long time, and I think one thing that really sets us apart is that we're really uniquely suited to address some of these specific challenges that are coming in now. We are focused on supporting academic integrity in writing and in your assessments. So wherever you're having those assessments and however you're assessing, we want to be able to allow teachers the opportunity to make sure that they are delivering those assessments with integrity and that they feel confident that they're capturing the learning outcomes of the students via those assessments. Also, with the introduction of generative AI, this is a tool that can be highly valuable, highly used by students both in their classrooms as well as in the workplace. But understanding how to use that tool responsibly is really important, and we want to be able to make sure we're allowing instructors the opportunity to have the indicators and the data and the insights to be able to teach their students to use AI in a responsible way. And so that's highly important for us as we are developing our products and supporting instructors in their classrooms. And then the third issue that Turnitin is really focused on supporting is helping to elevate educator impact. So what do I mean by educator impact? This is the ability for instructors and for educators to do more, to be able to expand their scope without having to work more hours or expend more effort. So how can we streamline activities? How can we make getting feedback to students faster? How can we make grading faster? How can we make it so that they are able to understand where there might be integrity issues and engage with students on those and know how to guide those conversations? So helping educators do the things that they need to do with ease, with precision, and with simplicity is really high and top of mind for us. So at Turnitin, we have a suite of solutions that are really available to serve our global education community across the research space, learning space, and into assessment. And across all of those, making sure that we are focusing on academic integrity and how those are represented is top of mind. So within research, learning, and assessment, we have solutions for research integrity to help the writing and publishing process. Academic integrity within your courses and your classrooms for ensuring that they're plagiarism free, that you are bringing quality into the writing, making sure that's original writing. Into your course assessments, so through those formative assessments, through your summative assessments, ensuring that you have integrity there and are able to engage with students in a positive way there to really understand what they're learning. And then finally, in your high stakes assessments. So if you're doing any programs or high stakes exams, being able to make sure that those are being delivered with the best in class security and integrity is really part of what we are delivering within our product set. So today I want to really focus on what we are doing in our learning environment through our courses. So I want to focus on Turnitin Feedback Studio, which is our flagship product. It's been available for many years now, and many of you have been Feedback Studio customers for a long time. And we've in the last few years, we really haven't been able to deliver a lot of new features and functionality, but that's because we have been making deep technical changes to our product in order to modernize it, to be able to bring you solutions to address some of the challenges that you're facing today. So this deep work that we've been doing kind of under the hood is allowing us to have a foundation of innovation so that we can accelerate our product delivery, accelerate bringing new features and functionality to you, as well as making Turnitin Feedback Studio accessible with inclusive design for all of your users. This deep foundation is really going to allow us to do some exciting things, and we're already starting to see some of that. So we're going to be able to reimagine our product experiences. We've seen that with Turnitin Originality, bringing AI detection. We'll see it in a few more things, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute. We're also able to bring in improved workflows. LTI 1.3 is a key indicator of this. This is really one of those tight integrations that makes it possible for us to really work closely with your LMS and keep those communications tight, keep that information connected. And then finally, being able to offer new assignment types. And this is really one of the most exciting parts about what we're able to do with Turnitin Feedback Studio today. Because as I mentioned, we want to be able to allow instructors the opportunity to assess the way that they want to assess, no matter where they sit within your institution or the discipline in which they are working. So what does that mean to assess how you want to assess? Once you have implemented your integration to your LMS with LTI 1.3, you'll be able to see new assessment types, new assignment types that you could select. So you typically know us as a place to upload your essay. Students will upload their essays, we'll check it for integrity, you'll be able to do grading and feedback. But now there are other ways that we can support assignments within your institution. We have handwritten assignments, and we also have student writing assignments, which is brand new. We just announced that last week. So I want to introduce to you our student writing assignment called Turnitin Clarity. And this is a really exciting product. This helps educators and students to come together in the writing process, to understand how the writing is coming together, to bring clarity to that, to bring understanding to that, and really bringing transparency to the writing process. So I have a little video without any sound, so I'm going to go ahead and narrate the video for you. So it might feel a little awkward, but we'll get through it together. So Turnitin Clarity, as I mentioned, was announced last week. We will be launching it in the next couple of months, and this is a student writing space. So students are able to access their assignment instructions, write, revise, and then submit, all within that same platform. If it's enabled, they can use an AI assistant to responsibly incorporate AI into their writing process. And then once they're ready, they can go ahead and submit it directly to the instructor, where they can view all of their integrity insights in one place, and flags guide where they might need more attention. They can look at the writing report, which summarizes key details such as pasted text and active writing time. There's a video playback to enable speedy, intuitive review of their entire history, and also moments that you can find moments of interest where instructors can really dive in and learn a little bit more about how student work is coming together. So we're really excited about this. We think it's going to really help bring educators and students together in the writing process and help both parties feel a little bit more confident about AI in the classroom and how students are doing their work. I want to also talk about the other assignment that we have available, which is handwritten assignments. So we're hearing more and more that instructors are having their students do handwritten assignments in class in order to combat generative AI. That's not the only place where you might have handwritten assignments, but if you want to offer them, you can now do that through Feedback Studio. So here you could capture free response, drawing questions, multiple choice, math formulas, short answers, diagrams, all kinds of places where writing by hand is really the best way to assess your student and their knowledge of the subject matter. But grading that can be kind of complicated, can be kind of time consuming. And so by offering this assignment type through Feedback Studio, you're able to bring those assignments into your Feedback Studio space, have it all digitized, and be able to do some really exciting things to make that grading and feedback process much faster. So we'll be using AI to group like responses together, handwritten recognition will group those, will recognize the responses, be able to group them, and you can go ahead and grade every like answer once, give them the same feedback, so that as you're grading the first paper, you're going to give that the same amount of attention as you would your last paper. That really is bringing a lot of fairness and equity across the students as they're getting their work graded. And it cuts down the time and investment needed by instructors dramatically to really streamline that process and bring everything into one space. So we're very excited about paper to digital, which allows you to be able to extend Feedback Studio in order to, assess the way you want to across the board. But let's talk about the standard assignment, which is the essay, which you are mostly familiar with. We have a lot of really great features that are coming out with this, which I think you're going to be very excited about. The first thing to highlight is that the similarity report is getting a nice revamp. So in addition to becoming accessible for your students and meet those accessibility requirements, it's easier to interpret. So the biggest question that we get is, what's the right percent of similarity? What's the right percentage? And that's really not the best question, because the matches are not always created equal. And so we want to be able to provide a little bit more context to those matches so that you can understand, what does it mean? How is the student learning? What does this particular similarity match tell me? So we have match groups. And these are where we've taken every match within the paper, within the report, and grouped them by what kind of match they are. So is it a match that was not cited or quoted? That could be a strong indication that there's some plagiarism and might require further investigation. Is it a match that's missing a quotation or a citation? This is an opportunity to teach students how to quote properly, how to cite properly. So it's a formative opportunity. And then my favorite is it a match that is both cited and quoted? And this is an awesome opportunity to let students know that they're doing it right, that this is work well done, and to give them that reassurance and that kind of pat on the back that they're getting those skills that they need to write authentically. So very excited about the match groups. For those of you who have Turnitin Originality, which is the AI writing detector, that report is now incorporated within the overall similarity report. So you don't have to go out to a separate place. It's all in one place. You just go to another tab where you're able to see the paper and identify any generative AI, whether that is just AI or paraphrased AI. So there's some distinctions there to give instructors those indicators of where AI or generative AI might be appearing within that student's assignment. We're also getting some really awesome grading and feedback experiences. So these have been long requested enhancements to our grading and feedback, and they're designed to provide more engaging feedback for students so that they will interact with it, they'll review it, they'll see it, they'll be able to see it more easily. It's allowing more flexibility for instructors to be able to grade the way they want to provide a little bit more nuance to those grades and the feedback they're giving to their students, and allows them to really grade much more quickly and at scale. So we're very excited about these, and lots of enhancements are on the way, but I'm going to just show you a few of them that are coming in the next couple of months. The first one is margin comments. So previously, comments were on top of the paper, hidden behind a click. So if you wanted to see what those comments were, you had to click into them and see them. We're moving those to the side. So this is a very familiar experience. We see that in Google Docs, we see it in Microsoft Word, and you're able to see those comments to the side so students can see them just much more easily and engage with them. We're also doing color coding. So you'll be able to color code your comments as well as your quick marks in order to, have, you could have your grammar comments in one color. You could have your structure comments another color. So it's up to you to be able to kind of make this represent the feedback you want to provide to students. We're also able to pin feedback. So if you have key pieces of information you want students to be able to see, you can pin that so it can be brought to the top and isn't lost amongst all the other comments. In our early research with folks showing them these features, this is one of the favorite ones. They really love being able to see that pinned feedback, get it right there at the top, and make sure that students are getting the most important pieces of information right away. You're also able to link your feedback, your comments to specific rubric items. So if you have a piece of information that you want to provide about the writing and link it directly to that rubric item to associate that more closely to the learning and the outcome that you're hoping that they will get, this is much easier to do now, and you can see those directly within your rubric manager. Speaking of the rubric manager, this has also gotten a big rehaul. This is an area that was pretty clunky and kind of difficult to use. And so we wanted to make this a much better experience for our instructors. So within the new rubric manager, you'll have your individual rubrics that you might have created. You'll also have any institutional rubrics that are available at your institution. And then Turnitin produces rubrics. And so those are available for you as well. You can download those rubrics, you can share them as you need to. It really is a much easier way for you to identify the rubrics, use the rubrics. We're also able to kind of clean them up. So you could archive rubrics you're no longer using and get them out of the way so that they're not cluttering it up. And you can star rubrics that you are using so you can find them more easily. You can have them available right there at the top of your rubric manager. So we're really excited about cleaning this space up and making it much more usable and much more user-friendly for you because this was an area that was challenging for many of our customers, and we're excited that we can now solve that for you. Continuing on with the enhancements for rubrics, we are changing the rubrics so that you can have arranged rubrics. So each criterion can have a range of scores. So if you want to do 1 to 5 points or 3 to 5 points or 1 to 10 points, that's up to you now. You can set that range and weight each criterion as you feel is important. So we feel like that's really exciting. People want that. And additionally, adding in decimal grading. So you can now give a decimals grade to the paper. So if you want to do a 5.5 or a 10.5 or a 0.75, you can now go ahead and have that flexibility as you're grading to give you more nuance and more just a little bit more opportunity to convey what you want to convey to your student via those grades. And for the students, they're also getting a revamped experience. So they will, very clearly be able to see their feedback summary in one part where they can see their summary comments, including AV comments, which will be coming, and that pinned feedback right there at the top. And then their rubric points will also be able to see those in a clear area with any linked comments associated with those rubrics. So really easy for them to navigate this. This is all accessible as well. You can use keyboard commands to navigate through your comments and your feedback. And I know you're going to be excited to hear we're also revamping the mobile experience. So mobile is, we know students live on their phones, so we wanted to make it easier for them to see their grades and their feedback in that mobile experience as well. So grades are right there for them, also feedback right there with that summary comment and those pinned comments right at the top. So really easy for them to get in and see those items right there on their phone. So lots and lots of great things are coming to improve this grading and feedback experience. And we've taken, we're really excited because we feel like we're bringing a lot of value to grading and feedback on your Turnitin assignments, and just wanted to show you how that compares to other features across in your LMS grading capabilities. More will be coming for grading and feedback to make this a really compelling experience, make it easy for students, make it easy for instructors, and let you, grade and assess the way you want to. The last thing I want to mention is, and I've talked about this a little bit before, but I think it really bears repeating, the new experience helps you to meet those accessibility standards. So we know a lot of institutions are concerned about having software that meets WCAG 2.1 AA standards. And this experience does. So if you are interested and you need to meet those standards, this using your LTI 1.3 integration to access these new features is the way to immediately check that box. So want to make sure that that is very clear, that this is how you meet those accessibility standards and how you are able to provide that access and that really nice experience for all of your users across your campus. So with that, we have a quick poll. We're going to turn it over to Trace a bit. We want to find out a little bit more about which LMS you all are using so that we can make sure that we are, understanding where everybody is, what they're working on. So you could just take a second and go ahead and fill out that poll for us. That will be very helpful. Great, lots of Moodle, more Moodle than I thought we'd see today. That's awesome. Love Moodle. Canvas, Brightspace. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for putting that in. All right, Tracy, you want to show the results? I think we've got a pretty good showing here. Nice, pretty evenly split, it looks like. Okay, great. Thanks for sharing that with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Tracy, who is going to talk a little bit more about the LTI Advantage and kind of some of those hidden things that LTI can bring to your institution. So Tracy, over to you.
Thanks, Gretchen. And honestly, I'm not that surprised about the Moodle, the Moodle attendance, because that's kind of a hot topic right now. But yeah, if you can go to the next slide with me. So I'm going to start off just kind of going a little bit into the history here for a second and talk about One EdTech. One EdTech, which was formerly known as IMS Global. So if you've ever heard that name, it's a member-led nonprofit that defines the learning tools interoperability standards. So as you've probably figured out by now, LTI 1.3 is the current industry standard. If you're curious about the history and the timeline, LTI 1.3 was actually released on April 16th, 2019. So it's already been around for a while in its evolving version. LTI 1.1, a lot of people know that one. That was the sort of major standard prior to that. And it has been decommissioned by One EdTech. Support ended for it on June 30th, 2022. But don't panic if you're still on LTI 1.1. Here's the thing. They decommissioned it. They ended support for it. But because every LMS is different, we have been working on getting LTI 1.3 up and running in each LMS. And so the deprecation dates for LTI 1.1 integrations have been kind of staggered. So, for some people, LTI 1.1 is over. We're on 1.3. For other people, that's coming in the near future or maybe a little bit longer term. So Gretchen's going to talk a little bit later about migration pathways, about the resources we have available. But for now, I just didn't want anybody to panic about the fact that LTI 1.1 is still a thing for a lot of people. So Gretchen, if you can go to the next slide. So for a second, let's just talk generalities. What makes LTI 1.3 different from and better than earlier versions of LTI? It's got new features, it's got new functions, it's got better security, which you will hear me say several times, and a more streamlined ecosystem. Overall, it's a significant upgrade from LTI 1.1, adding new features for both administrators and for users. It's offering the improved security and privacy. It leverages the One EdTech security framework, which ensures robust protection. So this is mainly for passing personally identifiable information, also known as PII. A lot of people are very worried about that. LTI 1.3 does that much better. In addition, it offers a better integration across all those LMS platforms, which decreases the cost and time spent integrating digital learning tools into the learning ecosystem. Next slide. So regarding now the benefits to the institution at large and LMS and Turnitin administrators specifically, upgrading to 1.3, it's the best way to improve the overall LMS experience of Turnitin Feedback Studio while improving security. As I mentioned, LTI 1.3 offers modern security protocols for your institution, provides those robust security measures for passing PII between platforms, and that safeguards student data. It minimizes risk to students and institutions. It supports OAuth 2.0 and JOT tokens to enable that secure data transfer between the LMS and the external learning tools. It also offers that stronger integration experience, which helps to make a school's digital ecosystem stronger, more intuitive in terms of integrating these third-party resources. I'm not going to lie, LTI 1.3 setup is easy as a few clicks in some LMSs, while it does require a little more effort in others, but we do have that detailed documentation, which minimizes the guesswork. Also, it is an easier way for the updates to be rolled out. So LTI 1.1 also allowed for changes to be made somewhat seamlessly on our end, but LTI 1.3 does this with that improved security. And if you have ever used plugins or other integrations that require the LMS admin to manually do updates, LTI 1.3 is a welcome change requiring minimal interaction once that setup is initially complete. Next slide. So that was the sort of admin side of things. How does LTI 1.3 benefit instructors and by extension students? So they're going to benefit because of the new functionalities and the optimizations. I think optimization is a great word here because there's a lot of things that don't look different necessarily as you move from 1.1 to 1.3, but it's all working a lot better in the background. So for instructors, LTI 1.3 offers this streamlined workflow. It allows users to launch different learning tools within the same LMS, as well as this optimized grading and feedback and grade passback. So again, with LTI 1.1, you're grading in, Turnitin, it's passing to the assignment inbox in the LMS, it's passing to the gradebook. All of that was happening, it's just happening more smoothly now. And my favorite part of LTI 1.3 is the advanced rostering capabilities. I'm going to go sideways for just a second in a rabbit hole. This was always very confusing in LTI 1.1. You had maybe 30, 40 students on your roster, and you would go to that Turnitin assignment inbox and see maybe 5 or 10 people and wonder, why is it only showing some of my students? Those were the students who had already submitted. But now with the advanced rostering capability of 1.3, everybody from your LMS roster is now showing in your Turnitin assignment. So you can see who has submitted, who hasn't submitted, and you can submit on behalf of students if they're having any kind of struggles. All right, next slide. So as an added bonus here, this is consistency, right? We are looking at consistency across any LTI-enabled system. If you move from one LMS to another, everything looks the same for the most part. So if you are a LMS admin and your institution decides to get something new, this is one last thing you have to worry about, is making sure that your users know how to use Turnitin and these other LTI 1.3 tools. Or let's say you're an adjunct faculty member that works at multiple institutions that have different LMSs. Once you know 1.3 in one system, you can use it easily in the other. The entry point may change, right? So in Blackboard Ultra assignments, you got to go to the content market, or in D2L, you go to content and then an external learning tool. So the way you get there is different, but once you launch that Turnitin assignment, the assignment settings are the same. The assignment inbox is the same. The similarity report is the same. And this is also the same for the Turnitin website. It was just about a year ago that we updated the assignment settings and inbox in the website to be the same as this LTI 1.3 experience in the LMSs. And that means that anybody moving from just using it on the website, boom, now we suddenly have an LMS and we're moving in there. Students and teachers don't have to learn something new. Next slide. So just another way we're using familiarity to make things easier. So as we streamline the user interface for each type of assignment, and you saw this earlier when Gretchen was talking about our newer tools like handwritten assignments and Clarity. So these are kind of small screenshots, but what you can see here is that the user interface is going to be the same for a standard Turnitin assignment and for handwritten assignments and for Clarity. And so those settings you're picking all the time, start date, due date, those standard elements, and of course the student submission process. We're trying to make sure that every tool looks and feels the same, just like the others, to reduce that valuable time spent looking for options, not knowing where they are. Next slide. All right, so here's the thing. We often talk about those big four LMSs. You have seen them mentioned all over this presentation so far, but the ed tech landscape is much vaster. You really have a lot of choices, and this has created historic challenges, not just for us, but for the entire industry of vendors who are trying to plug their tools into these systems. And at first, every vendor had to create system integrations custom integrations for all these systems, right? So there were building blocks that had to be built for Blackboard. There were plugins that had to be built for Moodle, and that doesn't even, go into all the smaller LMSs with their custom integrations. And those bespoke integrations have an advantage for sure. You can create a very intricate experience that works much like the way that the LMS works in other ways. And so they're great. Customers got used to it, but it is a huge problem because every time a new feature is built for Turnitin, or let's say code is changed in the LMS, you have to update every single one of these integrations. It's even worse if it's a bug that suddenly happens when you weren't expecting it, and that requires a change to all of these integrations that were built. So not only do we have to fix every integration we've built, we have to get the LMS admin or sometimes even the LMS company to upgrade the integration, trying to do this all as quickly as possible as those support tickets are flooding in. So it's very costly, it's very time consuming, it's very frustrating for everybody when that happens. Next slide. So the solution to all of this was the interoperability standard. The entire industry rallied around it. And when I say industry, I don't mean just the vendors, I mean the institutions of higher learning, the secondary education institutions that use Turnitin. We all rallied around this. We worked together in partnership to create and maintain these standards. Again, LTI 1.3 being the latest set of standards. And we've invested deeply in them. We've led groups to extend the standards, and the industry, of course, is marching toward an LTI 1.3 world. So here's what this means for Turnitin. It means streamlined innovation. This is very big. In other words, all that time we used to spend building, adjusting, supporting, troubleshooting individual bespoke integrations, we can now spend that time on continuous improvement and much faster innovation. And that faster innovation is already happening. So it's also making everyone's lives easier, the lives of the admins, the instructors, the students. It's making it simpler for everyone. Support is quicker and easier. The guides remain accurate. Every time we would have to make a change, we'd have to change the guide. And now we don't have to do that. And so customers can pick and choose those tools and features too, without having to revamp everything or anything at all in their LMS ecosystem. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to turn it back over to Gretchen.
Great. Thank you, Tracy. So we want to do another poll because I hope you're excited about all the new features that are coming, the support we have for LTI 1.3, but we're interested to know, there's a couple questions in here. We're interested to know, what's your readiness at your institution to bring LTI 1.3, into your LMS. We know that change isn't always easy, so I'm going to walk through some resources that we have available for you and that are also coming. And hopefully that will help you feel confident to move into LTI 1.3 if you're planning to do that project over a coming term break. So we'll just give folks just a couple minutes to go ahead and answer these questions. That will really help us make sure that we are ready to support you as we go into these next months. Oh, great. Looks good to see lots of folks already thinking about moving over. Awesome. Let's give it just another minute. If you have any additional information to add in the resources you're looking for, would love to know about that so we can develop them. Awesome. Great. I'm glad. It's exciting to see a lot of folks that are looking to do it in this May, August timeframe. Coming up, we'll have some support for you there. That's great. All right, let's go ahead and end the poll so we can see the results quickly and keep going. Great. Really interesting. Thanks for letting us know which resources are important to you. That I think is really helpful for us, is so we have those available. All right, so let me tell you what we do have coming for you. So change is a multifaceted thing. There's change that is required from the LMS administrator as they are doing the setup and they're getting in and they're testing it and they're doing the configurations. I saw a lot of questions about endpoints and step-by-step guides and things like that. So we wanted to let you know about a couple of tools that we have coming out here in the next couple of weeks that will make this setup much, much easier. In order to use LTI 1.3, you have to do two steps. You have to do your tool registration and your tool deployment. Currently, that process is a little bit cumbersome. So for example, with Moodle, it could be like 39 steps. So those are small steps, but there are a lot of them, and you kind of have to make sure you're following through them, and it become complicated. You can mess it up. So we want to make that process a little bit easier. So to do that, we have two things. The first is to implement a dynamic registration, which will automate that registration process for you by supplying that predefined URL. That will greatly reduce some of the errors that might creep in there. And then the other thing, which I think is really valuable, is we've redesigned the deployment workflow. That will make it more robust, make it much more clear what's happening, make sure that you as LMS administrators really understand the choices when you're asked to input information. So these two tools will make that actual setup process much, much easier, much cleaner, and faster for you. In addition to that, we do have really detailed documentation. So we have a lot of customers who have already taken this journey, gone from 1.1 or their legacy integration to 1.3. And so we have guidance for all of these scenarios. So you can see we've got for Canvas, for D12, for Moodle, we also have for Blackboard. Other LMSs as well. And these collections of resources are highly detailed. So lots of bite-sized webinar recordings with step-by-step guides, guidance around assignment copy tools, lots of resources for LMS administrators to make sure that you have what you need once you are ready to start taking these steps. We also have implementation workshops. So Tracy and her team run, they are experts here. They run LMS specific workshops in order to, provide guidance, to do some consulting, to talk about your scenario and how, how you want to have your LMS working with Turnitin. They have deep, deep knowledge about this and can really provide that advice. So we'll be sending you out a link to the registration page for these workshops. So once you're ready to engage with them, we have a few coming up. There'll be some coming in April, so keep an eye on that if you want to join any of these expert-led workshops. So once you have gone ahead and set up your integration, you've tested it, it looks great, you're kind of ready to, take that next step where you introduce it out to the rest of the institution, to your instructors, to students by way of using the assignments. We want to make that experience for you easy as well. So one of the ways that we're able to do that is by really providing a lot of options within your administrator settings. So this allows you what you see in this assignment picker that comes up. So when you choose to create an assignment, are you going to create the essay assignment? Do you also have access to the handwritten assignment and the student writing assignment? Do you want to see all of those? Do you want to have the option for instructors to use the old standard assignment or the new assignment and have that instructor choice? We're giving you that opportunity to really dictate how you roll this out to your institution through these highly detailed assignment settings. So really are excited about that flexibility that will give you to do this on your timeline and within the scope of what's happening at your institution. We also, just like for our LMS administrators, we have a bunch of resources that are intended for instructors and students to introduce them to the new workflows, the new features, the new options that are available to them, so that they can become comfortable with these and be able to use them really easily, get familiar with them right away, and kind of smooth out that change for them as they're adopting this new experience. So the new experience is coming. All the grading and feedback tools, we expect them to be available for you in the April to May timeframe. Turnitin Originality, which is the AI writing detection tool, is available now. Turnitin Paper to Digital, which is the handwriting tool, is available now. Turnitin Clarity will be coming in the next couple of months. So we want to make sure that you stay in touch with us so you can be aware of when all of these things are available. You can start using them once you have them turned on. So be sure to opt in for our newsletter, our administrator newsletter called The Source. The email regulations are pretty strict, so we need to make sure you're opted in order to get emails from us. So we'll be sending out some information in our follow-up email to make sure that you can opt in. Also, we'll be including the link for the LMS implementation workshop. And then also wanted to find out if any of these options or any of these new assignment types were interesting to you today. So we have our final poll for the day to see, what was interesting about this presentation to you. Do you want additional information? We can go ahead and follow up with you about anything that you might want to learn a little bit more about. So we'll leave that poll up for a minute, and then we can go ahead and move into Q&A while that poll is going. Okay, so Elizabeth, do you have any questions that you could guide us to answer that we're not taking care of via our questions or our chat?
Yes, there are a couple in our chat that Tracy and I are plugging away, but we have not gotten to yet. But maybe Gretchen, you can get for us. So Dave Perry asked, from a technical standpoint, how do we access data that's stored in the LTI assignment storage for our own reporting outside the LMS, for example, in Power BI? Currently, we can query LMS tables for this. Is this going to change?
That's probably going to be a question for Tracy. That's a little more technical than I'm aware of. Tracy, do you know? We might have to follow up with you separately, Dave.
Yeah, I do think that this is a question that requires, so I would recommend that Dave reach out to his customer success manager to sort of loop us in, because it's a very specific question that doesn't necessarily have a one size fits all answer.
Good point, Tracy. There are several questions in here about end of life dates for various types of integrations. I will say that Gretchen and the entire Turnitin team, we are trying to be as clear as possible on what we're end of lifing and what we're not. There is no end of life planned currently for CPF, Canvas Plagiarism Framework. That is not going anywhere anytime soon. And Gretchen, I don't believe we have an end of life plan for Canvas 1.1. That one came up a couple times as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. And we'll work with Canvas to, understand when are stopped, there's no support for that. And once we announce those dates, there will be a long lead time to make sure that you have the time you need in order to make the change at your institution. We are very cognizant that change is hard. It's difficult. We're not here to rush anybody off into something else they're not ready for.
Other than that, I think there's a couple outstanding questions, but they're a bit more technical in nature. Lynn, we will make sure that the administrator newsletter and the workshops will be in the follow-up, so you will have an exact link to sign up for all of that. We love an informed customer who wants to come to all of our workshops. But other than that, unless there's any last minute questions, and we did have several people asking about the recording. This session is being recorded. We will make sure that we get the recording out to the attendees. And Gretchen, do we post this recording anywhere that can be shared as well?
Yes, so we'll post this recording on our migration hubs, where we have all of this kind of information. So that will be up in a little bit here, but we will be sending out an email with the link to this webinar, as well as the links I mentioned, so to the workshops, as well as this opt-in link to make sure we can get emails out to you. So those.
The only other thing I'll comment and add is there were a couple folks who were just asking about, Clarity. How do I get more information about Clarity or some of the new grading and feedback features that Gretchen added or demoed? Always reach out to your CSM. They can kind of be your point person for getting any more information on those features. If you have technical questions, you can also reach out to your CSM and they will connect you to someone on Tracy and my team. We do have global coverage, so it may not be one of the two of us. It may be one of our international folks, depending on where you're calling in from. So the implementation consultants are always here to help. We don't want anyone to feel as though that they are not going to get their questions answered. The reason we put it all in the Q&A is so we can follow up and get all of that.
All right. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And thank you all for joining us for our webinar today. Really appreciate it. Keep an eye out for the email with the recording, and we will hopefully talk with you soon. Appreciate it. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.